father, and say to him, thus saith your son Joseph, Almighty Sovereign hath made me master of all Misraim. Come down to me, do not delay. And you shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and be near to me, you and your children and your children's children, your flocks and your herds, and all that is that you have. And I shall provide for you there, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty, because 5 years of scarcity of food are still to come. And look, your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see that it is my mouth that speaks to you. And you shall inform my father of all my esteem in Mizraim, and of all that you have seen. And you shall hurry and bring my father down here. And he fell on his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. And he kissed all of his brothers and wept over them. And after that his brother spoke with him. And the report of it was heard by the house of Pharaoh, saying, the brothers of Joseph have come. And it was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, say to your brothers, do this, load your beast and go, enter the land of Canaan, and take your father and your household and come to me, and I give you the best of the land of Mizraim. And you eat the fatness of the land, and you have been commanded to do this. Take wagons out of the land of Mizraim for your little ones and your wives, and you shall bring your father and come. And do not be concerned about your goods, for the best of all the land of Mizraim is yours. And the sons of Israel did so, according to Joseph, gave them wagons according to the command of Pharaoh, and he gave them food for the journey. He gave to all of them, to each man, changes of garments, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of garments. And he sent to his father, this 10 donkeys loaded with the best of Mizraim, 10 female donkeys loaded with grain, the bread, the food for his father for the journey. So he sent his brothers away, and they left. And he said to them, do not quarrel along the way. And they went up out of Mizraim and came to the land of Canaan, to Jacob their father. And they told him, saying, Joseph is still alive, and he is governor over all the land of Mizraim. And Jacob's heart ceased, for he did not believe them. But when they spoke to him all the words which Joseph had spoken to them, and when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to transport him, the spirit of Jacob, their father, revived. And Israel said, enough, my son Joseph is still alive. Let me go and see him before I die. Anyone? There's a lot of emotion in this chapter here as Joseph is revealing himself to his brothers. You know, there's probably a lot going through the minds of his brothers, you know, in this revealing, and they're just dumbfounded, and they just can't grasp that this is true for a moment. It's so unreal to them that Joseph is still alive. But then Joseph instructs them to go back, get their father, and don't quarrel along the way. You know, don't fight amongst yourself. You know, it was the father that brought me here. It wasn't you selling me. It was the father who did this. It's his plan, and this is how he plans our lives, and we don't even know it. We're being directed by his hand, and we don't even know that we're being directed by his hand.
That is true. Yeah, I've noticed that verse, that saying there in 24, do not quarrel along the way. So Joseph, even though he hadn't seen his brothers in some time, still knows what they're about. That they will quarrel among themselves. So he's just cautioning, don't quarrel along the way. Go get my father and get back here as fast as you can. Anyone else?
No, it's fine.
You're talking about the motion, but 13 years and you think your son's dead, and then you get to see him, and like, that's just amazing. Isn't it 13 years, 17?
22.
Oh, I guess more. 22. Oh, it's more. Okay, 22. But I was just thinking of that, even with some of our loved ones that, haven't, that, they maybe knew the way, and then they, kind of left, and just those times, it just takes time, and that we need to remember that.
You want to go on to 46?
And Israel departed with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and brought offerings to the Almighty Sovereign of his father Isaac. And Almighty Sovereign spoke to Israel in the visions of the night, and said, Yaakov, Yaakov. And he said, Here I am. And he said, I am the Almighty Sovereign of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Mizraim, for I shall make you there a great nation, into a great nation. I myself am going down with you to Mizraim, and I myself shall certainly bring you up again, and let Joseph put his hand on your eyes. And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel brought their father Jacob and their little ones and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to transport them. And they took their livestock, their property, which they had acquired from the land of Canaan, and came into Mizraim, Jacob and all his seed with him. His sons and his sons' sons, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed he brought with him to Mizraim. And these were the names of the children of Israel, Jacob and his sons, who had came to Mizraim, Reuben, and Jacob was Jacob's firstborn. And the sons of Reuben, Hanok, Halud, Hezron, and Carmi. And the sons of Shimon, Yemiel, and Yamin, and Ohad, and Yachin, and Zohar, and Saul, son of the Canaanite woman. And the sons of Levi, Gershon, Quehath, and Merari. The sons of Yehuda, and Onan, and Shelah, and Perez, and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamil. And the sons of Yishkar, Tola, and Puah, and Yoab, and Shimron. And the sons of Zebulun, Shirah, and Elon, and Yehalel. These were the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Padan Aram with his daughter Dinah. All the beings, his souls, and his daughters were 33. And the sons of Gad, Zephion, and Haggai, Shunai, and Etzbon, Eri, and Arodi, and Ariel. And the sons of Asher, Yimnah, and Yawesh, and Yeshua, and Berah, and Sarai, their sister, and the sons of Berah, Heber, and Melchel. These were the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah, his daughter, and these she bore to Jacob, 16 beings. The sons of Rahel, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin. And to Joseph in the land of Mizraim were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asnath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bore to him. And the sons of Benjamin, Bela, and Becher, and Ashbel, Yira, and Naaman, Hai, Rosh, Muffin, and Huffin, and Ard. And these, the sons of Rachel, were born to Yaakov 14 beings in all. And the sons of Dan, Husham, and the sons of Naphtali, Yetzel, and Gunai, and Yetzer, and Shillem. These were the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to Rachel, his daughter, and she bore these to Yaakov, 7 beings in all. All the beings who went with Yaakov to Mizraim, who came from his body, besides Yaakov's sons' wives, were 36 beings in all. And the sons of Joseph, who were born to him in Mizraim, were 2 beings. All the beings of the house of Yaakov who went to Mizraim were 70. And he sent Yehuda before him to Joseph to point out before him the way to Goshen. And they came to the land of Goshen. And Joseph made ready his chariot and went up to Goshen to meet his father Israel. And he appeared to him and fell on his neck and wept on his neck a long time. And Israel said to Joseph, now let me die, since I have seen your face, that you are still alive. And Joseph said to his brothers in his father's house, I am going up to inform Pharaoh and say to him, my brothers and those of my father's house who are in the land of Canaan have come with me. And the men are shepherds, that they have been men of livestock, and that they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. And it shall be, when Pharaoh calls you and says, what is your occupation? That you shall say, your servants have been men of livestock from our youth even till now, both we and also our fathers, so that you dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination to the Mizrahites.
Anyone?
When they go back and they present this information to Yaakov, he is just he doesn't believe him. You go back to the previous chapter, it says, but when they spoke to him all the words that Joseph had spoken to them, and when they saw the wagons which Joseph had sent transport, the spirit of Yaakov their father revived. It revived because he didn't believe him until he seen all the wagons and the supplies that Joseph had sent. But now Yaakov is just beside himself, and he doesn't want to delay. He wants to go quickly to see Joseph, and then, but on the way he stops. He's got to give honor to the Father,
Yes.
and we should always stop to give honor to the Father.
That's a good point.
We need to keep that in our mind. When the Father blesses us in some way or whatever, we just don't go about our way rejoicing. We need to stop and honor the Father for what it is that He is doing. And we need to do that anyway, even if He's taking us down, we need to honor Him for what He's doing in our lives. And we need to do it daily.
Yeah.
Because we don't know exactly what He's doing in our lives, but we need to honor Him, that He is in control of our lives.
Yes.
And that's what keeps me going sometimes. Just reminding myself that He's in charge, that He's in control, and whatever's happening in my life is coming from Him and not myself. I mean, myself has a lot to do with it, which whether the Father lifts me up or takes me down, but His direction in my life will not cease. His direction will continue, and He will keep them blinders on me and them rails beside me to keep me on that straight and narrow, to keep me on that path.
Yes.
And I thank Him for that.
Yes. Yes. Praise Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh. Yes, it's interesting that Yaakov needed eyes to see and ears to hear. He hears his sons talking about Joseph, but he doesn't quite believe it. Then he sees the donkeys and says, now I have seen what is there, so now I know that my son is still alive. Anyone else?
I really like Craig's pointing out there at the beginning of 46. And I like in there also is, so looking, because it says he traveled, like Israel sets out with all he has and comes to Beersheba. So he sets out presumably quickly. I mean, it's got to take time to get all their tents down and all that stuff with how big of a place and family they had. But to think that he's gung-ho, he's so excited. Again, the end of 45, his heart ceases where he does not believe them. Like, it's such a stark thing. He's like, what? But he immediately, he goes because he's so excited to see it. His spirit is revived because of it at the end of 45. But my guess, why we have verses 2 and 3 and 4, is my guess is he started down there, and maybe Jacob remembers the prophecy given to Abraham. Your seed shall go and be slaves. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's pretty harsh words when, what was that? Yeah. They shall sojourn, at least I think is what it says. I forgot to note the verse. Back earlier in Genesis, sojourn in a land that's not theirs. They will be slaves before Yah brings them out. And he does give that promise to Abraham, not just that they're going to go down as slaves. He does give the promise of bringing them out. But my guess is maybe that Jacob starts to recall it, and he's got some fear. Should I really go? I want to see Joseph so bad, but I also know this prophecy, which it's not going to stop the prophecy, but I just, again, that fear of through me going down there is the start of that slavery. Like, if you just consciously thought about that, I would really have to think through.
It's in 15:13.
Ooh, thank you. Okay, so Genesis 15:13 is that prophecy given to Abraham. Let me turn back to it. It's after the cutting of the covenant. And it came to be, I'm going to start at 12. When the sun was going down and a deep sleep fell upon Abram, that see, a frightening great darkness fell upon him. And he, Elohim, said to Abram, know for certain that your seed are to be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 100 years. But the nation whom they serve I am going to judge, and afterward let them come out of that, out with great possessions. But again, for me to think, to be Jacob, and knowing again that it's the word of Yah, even if it is slavery, even if it includes slavery or whatever that prophecy is, but to be the person to know, or to wonder, maybe he doesn't know, but he wonders, is this going to be it? But Elohim comes to him and says, I am the Elohim of your fathers. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I shall make you there into a great nation. And then I love verse 4. I myself am going down with you to Egypt, and I myself shall certainly bring you up again. Because I think that's just an awesome promise. 2, the cultures of that time, ancient cultures, gods were very geographical. So the god was stuck to the land, in essence, and to the, not even to the people, I don't think. Like, if you got kicked out of your land, then your God wasn't with you anymore, is what a lot of those cultures believed. Your God had abandoned you, forsaken you, whatever the reason. And so for that promise, just another proof that Yah is the greatest. He is not just another God. He's not just one of the gods of that time, of that, the cultures all around the world. He is the supreme creator, and that he's not governed or limited by geography. He's going with us. We go with him wherever he goes. The world is his, not just this little spot of our people. So I just love those two things from those first couple verses.
Good points.
So yeah, verse 4 it says, I myself am going down with you to your Mitzrayim, and I myself shall certainly bring you up again. So if you go back to 15, chapter 15, verse 16 in Genesis, then in the fourth generation they shall return here, for the crookedness of the Amorites is not yet complete.
Oh, that's good. That was good.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
And in that prophecy back in 15, he also tells them that when you leave, you are going out with riches. And that's exactly what happened. Everything he said in the prophecy came to pass. It just shows that the Father is in control of all things. And he knows all things before it even happens.
Yeah. Which brings us to today.
147. Delay here.
And Joseph went and spoke to Pharaoh and said, my father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all that they possess have come from the land of Canaan. And see, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to the brothers, what is your occupation? And they said to Pharaoh, your servants are shepherds, both we and also your fathers and our fathers. And they said to Pharaoh, we have come to dwell in the land, because there is no pasture for the servants' flocks, and the scarcity of food is severe in the land of Canaan. And now please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Mizraim is before you. Settle your father and your brothers in the best of the land. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen. And if you know a capable man or capable men among them, then make them chief herdsmen over my flock. And Joseph brought his father Jacob and stood before Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, how many are the days of your life? And Jacob said to Pharaoh, the days of the years of my sojourning are 130 years. Few and evil have been my days of the years of my life. And they have not reached the days of the years of my fathers, the days of their sojourning. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. So Joseph settled his father and his brothers and gave them possession in the land of Israel, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph provided his father and his brothers and all his father's household with bread for the mouth of the little ones. And there was no bread in all the land, because the scarcity of food was very severe. And the land of Mizraim and all the land of Canaan became exhausted from the scarcity of food. And Joseph gathered up all the silver that was found in the land of Mizraim and in the land of Canaan for the grain which they bought. And Joseph brought the silver into Pharaoh's house. And when the silver was all spent in the land of Mizraim and all the land of Canaan, all the Mizraimites came to Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in your presence, for the silver is gone? And Joseph said, give your livestock, and I shall give you bread for your livestock, if your silver is gone. So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread with exchange for horses, and for their flocks they owned, and for the herds they owned, and for donkeys. Thus he fed them the bread in exchange for all the livestock that year. And when that year ended, they came to him the next year and said to him, we do not hide from my master that our silver is all spent, and my master also has the livestock we own. There has not any been left before my master, but our bodies and our lands. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and let us and our land be servants of Pharaoh, and give us seed, and let us live and not die, and let the land not lie waste. And Joseph bought the entire land of Israel for Pharaoh, because every man of the Mizrahites sold his field, because the scarcity of food was severe upon them, and the land came to be Pharaoh's. And as the people, he moved them into the cities from one end of the borders of Israel to the other end. Only the ground of the priests he did not buy, for the priests had allotments from Pharaoh, and they ate their allotments which Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell their ground. And Joseph said to the people, look, I have brought you and your land today for Pharaoh. Look, here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land. And it shall be that in the harvest you give 1/5 of Pharaoh, and 4/5 is yours, as seed for the land, for your fields, and for your food, and those of your household, and as food for your little ones. And they said, you have saved our lives. Let us find favor in your eyes of my master, and we shall become Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Israel to this day, that Pharaoh should have 1/5, except for the ground of the priests only, which did not become Pharaoh's. And Israel dwelt in the land of Israel, in the land of Goshen, and they had possessions there, and bore fruit, and increased exceedingly.
Tolly don't want to help her with me.
Anyone?
Tolly, do you want to count with
Go ahead.
Joseph is just, he's a shrewd businessman. He, in the, in the beginning, he's giving them food for their silver and their gold or whatever, their possession. But then when that runs out, it's, here, take our livestock. We'll trade our livestock for food, because, what good is it to us, because we're gonna die anyway. So then, after that year's up, then they go back to him again. We don't even have money. Our livestock is gone. All we have is our land and ourselves. Buy us and our land, so that we do not perish. And they're selling themselves into slavery, and they don't even realize it. But then later on, that slavery is shifted from them to the Israelite people.
Because that Pharaoh passed away and another Pharaoh came into power.
That did not know Joseph.
That did not know Joseph. Got it. Anyone else? All right, I guess we go on to Ezekiel.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Sure.
So I don't know if we know for sure, but it seems to be pretty chronological here at the end of, or through these chapters. And so when Jacob comes down, so there's 45:6 says, for 2 years now the scarcity of food has been in the land. So they have 5 years left at that point. And that's when he's revealing to his brothers who he is. And presumably it doesn't take too long to get back to come, sometime. But it's just kind of interesting to me that there's 5 years or less of the scarcity, and that's when the people of Egypt are selling, like they're using all their silver. And it even says, I hadn't caught, Craig, when you read 17 and 18, because 15 it talks about their silver, 16 and 17 is the livestock, and then 18 says, and when that year had ended, so it gives another prompt or another timestamp, but I don't know if that's like 3 consecutive years, the silver, then the livestock, then the land in themselves. But to think in 5 years or less, whether they didn't use wisdom, where again, like Joseph had to advise Pharaoh's, saving back. Was it 1/5 at that time too? 1/5 for the.
There wasn't no harvest at that time. There wasn't no
Sure.
planting or harvest.
But the amount that Joseph had advised Pharaoh to save back during the years of plenty, that just either the layman didn't have any wisdom to do that, and then it was so expensive.
No, if you read in the book of Jasher, it says that some of the men of Israel, they did exactly what Joseph was doing and putting back grain, but the bugs and stuff got into it.
Oh, kind of like the manna when they weren't
Yeah,
supposed
right,
to keep
right.
it.
Right. So the father was in control here, and he would not let them store their own grain. He let the bugs get to it, but he protected that Joseph was putting away.
Okay.
Anything else? I guess we go to Ezekiel.
Ezekiel 37:15. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, And you, son of man, take a stick for yourself and write on it for Yehudah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write on it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. Then bring them together for yourself into one stick, and they shall become one in your hand. And when the children of your people speak to you, saying, Won't you show us what you mean by these? Say to them, Thus said the Master Yahweh, See, I am taking the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his companions, and I shall give them unto him with the stick of Yehudah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. And the sticks on which you write shall be in your hand before their eyes. And speak to them, Thus said the Master Yahweh, See, I am taking the children of Israel from among the nations, wherever they have gone, and shall gather them from all around, and I shall bring them into their land. And I shall make them one nation in the land, on the mountains of Israel. And one sovereign shall be sovereign over them all. And let them no longer be 2 nations, and let them no longer be divided into 2 reigns. And they shall no longer defile themselves with their idols, nor with their disgusting matters, nor with any of their transgressions. And I shall save them from all their dwelling places in which they have sinned. And I shall cleanse them. And they shall be my people, and I shall be their Most High. While David my servant is king over them. And they shall all have one shepherd, and walk in my right rulings, and guard my laws, and shall do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Jacob my servant, where your fathers dwelt. And they shall dwell in it, they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David be their prince forever. And I shall make a covenant of peace with them, an everlasting covenant it is with them. And I shall place them and increase them, and shall place my set-apart place in their midst forever. And my dwelling place shall be over them, and I shall be their Most High, and they shall be my people. And the nations shall know that I, Yahweh, am setting Israel apart, when my set-apart place is in their midst forever.
Any comments? So is this a prophecy that talking about when the end times come and the kingdom of heaven now resides on earth? Where it says here in the last verse, and the nations shall know that I, Yahweh, am setting Israel apart, when my set apart place is in their midst forever.
If you go from this chapter all the way to the end of Ezekiel, I think it's talking about the new temple or in the millennial reign. Because it talks about the priests and how they will dress, that they will keep their hair cut or groomed. It says groomed, it doesn't say cut, it says it will keep their hair groomed. But it talks about the temple and how their daily worship will be at that time. So I believe from this chapter on to the end of the Ezekiel is talking about the millennial reign.
That was my feeling as well, reading this. So, talks it in a couple of places, a couple of verses here in this particular chapter about his set apart place coming to us, residing through us on the millennial reign. His temple, his kingdom will be on earth forever. Anyone else?
I think with that understanding, which I would agree with for where I am right now, verse 24 is, I think, really good. I don't know if it would be in evangelizing, but in just discussions with people. If people are in agreement that this is the millennial reign, you have, and they shall all have one shepherd and walk in my right rulings and guard my laws and shall do them. So if we're talking about the millennial reign, everyone's guarding the covenants, the Torah covenant. So, and it's like Revelation talks about the unclean bird. And to me, just the idea of just the traditional Christian understanding that the Torah as a whole doesn't apply to us anymore, that you have it, then you don't have it, then you have it, or like it applies, then it doesn't, then it applies, then it doesn't. You have all these, it doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, it's a bit chaotic to say, okay, yeah, so it applied to them after Moses, then it didn't when Messiah came, but then it will again in the millennial reign, but then it won't after. I mean, it's just interesting to really just think it through. And if people are in agreement of this being the millennial reign, well, or any time in the future, if it hasn't been fulfilled yet, in our understanding, my understanding, this has not been fulfilled yet. When Messiah, it's talking about here, while David in the flesh has died. So it's talking about the Messiah. So while, the Messiah, my servant, is king over them. And then it calls him in 25, David be their prince forever. So that still, I would think most Christians would say that's not been fulfilled yet, that it's sometime in the future, whether it be the millennial reign or something. But if you read 24, his right ruling and his laws are still there, and we shall do them. And it's a delight. So kind of thinking of, is it Zechariah 14 where it talks about Sukkot? Also, most understanding about it being a millennial reign. But yeah, so if you don't come up for Sukkot, you don't get rain.
Right.
You miss a blessing, right? And yeah, I'll put the diseases of Egyptians on you.
Your eyes will go up.
Oh, that's rough. So I think that it's a good verse and a good thing to have in your knowledge bank if you're talking with someone that does know the word well, and that you can have a good discussion about these things. What?
Yeah, it's interesting. Where he's telling Ezekiel, take these two sticks. And one is Yehuda, and the other one is Israel, and put them together because there'll be one family, one nation, one group of people, and they will dwell with me forever. So it's wanting to bring them back together again, from the separation of the kingdoms back then, Northern Kingdom versus the Southern Kingdom. And I found that quite interesting that this is talking about sticks, using that to signify that the two kingdoms are now going to be coming together again.
And also the northern kingdom represents the Gentiles also.
Okay, right.
So it's bringing them into that covenant.
Anyone else? Okay, going to Ephesians. Chapter 2, verses 1 through 10. And you were dead in trespasses and sins, in which you once walked according to the course of this world, according to the ruler of the authority of the air, of the spirit that is now working in the sons of disobedience, among whom also we all once lived in the lusts of our flesh, doing the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, as also the rest. But Elohim, who is rich in compassion, because of his great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in trespasses, made us alive together with Messiah. By favor you have been saved, and raised us up together, and made us sit together in the heavenlies in Messiah Yahusha, in order to show in the coming ages the exceeding riches of his favor in kindness toward us in Messiah Yahusha. For by favor you have been saved through belief, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of Elohim. It is not by works, so that no one should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Messiah Yahusha unto good works, which Elohim prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Hallelujah. Any comments on that? Go ahead.
I like verses 8 and 9 because if you've ever been through, I can't remember the name of it now. It's a witnessing course. But anyway, it brings out verses 8 and 9. For by favor you have been saved through belief, and not of yourself. It is the gift of Almighty Sovereign. It is not by works, so that no one should boast. And they want to stop there, in that, and they leave out verse 10. And verse 10 is very, very relevant to 8 and 9. It says, "For we are his workmanship, created in Messiah Yahshua, unto all good works, which Yahweh prepared before that we should walk in them."
Yes.
That's right.
That's a good point. Most people miss it.
That's right. A lot of them just stop at 9, but don't go on to 10.
It is by these works. That is pretty cool.
Praise the Most High.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay. Go ahead and I'll do a prayer in closing. If I can find it.
That their Whitney's program I was talking about is Evangelism Explosion
I saw. I actually was.
by James Dobson, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went through that years and years ago, and I had it down pat, 8 and 9, 8 and 9, 8 and 9. And then one day I read 10. Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, in verse 11, it says, "Therefore remember that you, once nations in the flesh, who are called the uncircumcision, by what is called the circumcision, made in the flesh by hands, that at that time you were without Messiah, excluded from the citizenship of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no expectation, without Elohim in the world." Praise the Father. Father Yahweh, we are so thankful for your love, provisions, and protection. There are so many reasons to be thankful and grateful for you, that we can't even count all of them. You carry our lives in your hands. You lift us up out of despair and give us the joyful light of the world, Yahusha HaMashiach. Your ways are higher, so we focus our eyes on your kingdom, Father. Father, we praise you in our trials and tests. We sing through pain and sorrow. We cling to your Torah of kindness and are renewed. We seek your face and find the beauty of all creation. Father, shine your face and favor upon us. Guide and direct our walk and give us your wisdom and discernment. Let forgiveness be first in our hearts and help us remove all grudges so that our heart remembers nothing done against us. Let our mouths not even speak any evil or wickedness against another, and cancel any wickedness spoken against us. Let love be our banner. In Yahushua HaMashiach's name we pray. Let it be so, and let your kingdom come. Thank you, Father. Hallelujah. We praise, glorify, and honor.